Welcome everyone to our session on building workflows on AKS with Argo. My name is Rahul, and with me I have my former colleague and very good friend Tarun. We are presenting live from the wonderful space at SSW. I'd like to thank them for that. So before we start with the session, I would start with a brief introduction of myself. So my name is Rahul, and I'm an engineering manager at Zip, which is one of the very popular buy now pay later companies here in Sydney and has presence all over the world. Me and my friend Tarun, we have been working on Azure and most specifically Kubernetes for quite a while. You can see the links to two of our books that we released within the last 2 years, and you can download them. They are short, free for you to read. And with that, I would hand it over to Tarun.
Thanks, Rahul. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session. My name is Tarun, and I'm working with Nine Technology here in Sydney. And I've been working in Kubernetes from past 2 years and really enjoying a lot and exploring different options which we have for enterprise application when they are deployed to Kubernetes, what all we can achieve on Kubernetes within the Kubernetes ecosystem and with external connections as well. So we'll start on our session. Azure Kubernetes Service, as many of you might be aware of, is a managed offering from Microsoft. It's basically provides you all the benefits of Kubernetes, but in a managed environment where you don't have to manage the entire infrastructure by yourself. You can have auto scaling, monitoring, everything integrated with the AKS offering, and they are all managed by Azure for you. You just have to configure it. You don't have to entirely manage the entire setup. Also, the master component of Kubernetes, which you all know is very important component, is managed entirely by Azure, and there is even no charge as well for you to pay for using the master component. You only pay for the worker node or worker node you add to your cluster, and any other extra services you are using from Azure, you only pay for that, not for master component. The AKS service support both Windows and Linux container, which is a good thing. If you have existing Windows setup, you can leverage Windows container as well. Also, as I said, it is a managed offering on top of Kubernetes. So all the native functionality of Kubernetes is supported in AKS, and you can even migrate any of your existing K8 workload to AKS without much trouble because everything is natively supported. So as we work on enterprise application, we tend to come across a functionality very often for most of the application, which is workflow requirement. We tend to have workflow in some way or another in most of our application, and there are many ways in which you can the workflow, but these are some of the points which we feel you should consider before opting for what kind of workflow you want to use in your application. I think one of that is it should be really easy to use. You should not have a lengthy learning curve just to use workflow in your application, because your main focus should be your core business functionality, not the workflow management of like if you are using Kubernetes as your infra environment, then your workflow setup should be compatible with Kubernetes as well. Otherwise, you have, if you use a totally incompatible system, then you have to manage that as well. Then that will increase your cost overall. Your workflow system should be easily deployable with your existing DevOps setup as well. That is another point. It should have reusability easily inbuilt into it, so that you can reuse some of the steps which are already used in your workflow. For example, if you have a notification functionality in your workflow solution should provide you reuse of that step, so that you don't have to define that again and again. And it should be scalable for sure, because nowadays scale is everything. Yeah. In Azure, if you are using AKS, or even if you are not using AKS, we have many options for workflow. One of which is if you're going for a PaaS option, we have Azure Logic Apps. Azure Logic Apps helps you write workflow without any special coding requirement. You can just add configuration for the workflows, and that should do with create the workflow. That is basically based on the task framework, which you can use. Again, it also require minimum coding for you to do, and you can easily set up workflow using that. If you are using AKS or a bare metal Kubernetes installation on VMs in Azure, you have options of using Azure Functions on containers that will be slightly outside of your existing infrastructure, but it is still supported. So you can use Azure Functions on containers if your system is container based. Another option is Apache Airflow, which you can deploy in your cluster as well. Again, that's also a very good and powerful system, but the only problem with that is it has slightly learning curve, or it requires existing knowledge of Python for you to start implementing it. And then we have Argo Workflow as well, which is natively supported with Kubernetes. You can have workflow up and running just by defining a configuration file in Kubernetes, and your system will have workflow functionality just in a second. So we'll learn more about Argo Workflow today.
So that brings me to the topic of today's presentation, which is Argo. So let's first start with understanding what Argo actually is. So it is an open source project that was originally built by Intuit and later donated to CNCF. It is one of the projects which is an incubating stage of the CNCF family of projects. Now, Argo in itself is not a single project, but rather a collection of 4 different projects that all of which roll up into under one of the brand names, which is Argo. So Argo in itself consists of a workflow project, which we are going to learn about in detail today. And another one is the continuous deployment project, through which you can use GitOps like service in order to deploy your services and workflows on Kubernetes. Another one is rollouts that adds some further rollout capabilities to your existing Kubernetes rollout models. And the last one is events, which is for supporting making events first-class citizen of Kubernetes. So you can trigger different services and workflows within Kubernetes using events that can be raised from a variety of systems. We'll take a brief look about all of these projects in the next few slides. Now, Argo is a very well-supported project, and a number of organizations are actually involved in not just supporting it, but they are also building products on top of it. So some of the key names that you would find in the Argo that are using the Argo suite of project Adobe, Google. Use it for their own systems. So Argo CD. So Argo CD is a GitOps based CD tool for Kubernetes. So I like to simplify terms a lot. So GitOps, in very simple terms, just means that you package not just your application code, but also all the specifications and the scripts that are used for deploying your code, and also for upgrading it and running the tests, and all of those things that actually wrap your code base in a Git repository, and then use a tool in order to deploy everything to the platform of your choice. So GitOps is a broad term that is used to define what I just said. And with Argo CD, you actually get an operator as a Git operator, which is actually sitting in your Kubernetes cluster, which continuously keeps watching your Git repo for any changes. And based on any changes that it finds, it would pick up all the artifacts and your and the code that you wrote and apply it on the Kubernetes cluster, so that the end state of the Kubernetes cluster is what you define in your Git specification, in the specifications that you save using Git as a source control. Now, again, as I said, that Argo CD is a tool for continuous delivery of your application, in that you just need to commit your code to Git, and with Argo CD, the code will automatically, as in the other artifacts, Kubernetes without. So let's briefly discuss the next project. Sorry about the connection.
Is it fine now? Or it's still dropping?
It's fine now. It's just every couple of minutes it drops.
So I think we're all good. I will just continue. Just let us know if there are any connection drops. I think we'll try to figure out the solution for it. So that brings me to the next project in the Argo family, which is Argo rollouts. So Kubernetes by default has just two rollout strategies, which means that if you have an application and you want to update it, by default, Kubernetes will suppose a rolling deployment model by which each of your pods that have the existing version of your application would be taken down, patched, and then brought back to life. And another one is recreate. So with recreate strategy, all of the pods of your application with a particular version are taken down, and then the fresh version of your application is rolled out. In most of the cases, these two strategies are not enough, and Argo rollouts adds some more rollout models to Kubernetes. What that means is, once you install Argo rollouts, you will have support for blue-green deployment and canary deployment in supported as first-class citizens in your Kubernetes cluster as well. So blue-green deployment model just means that you have two different versions of the service running at the same time, and you can decide on which version of your service you want to route the traffic to, and what percentage. You can use many different parameters in order to decide which version of your service should get should be routed to which version of your service. But then once you are happy with your experiments, then you can totally switch over to the new version of the service. Canary model is very similar to Blue Green in that you have a version of your service, an existing version of the service, and when you want to try out a new version of the service, you first roll it out to a selected group of people, and then you keep increasing the blast radius and until you roll out this service to everyone, all of your customers. So again, for they would be pulled by default by Argo, or otherwise you can use all of these tools separately, and Argo rollouts will still work, and it will pick out the rollout strategy and apply it on your service. So moving on, I'll talk about Argo Events, which is the third project under the Argo umbrella. So as I said earlier, that Argo Events project actually makes Event first-class citizen of Kubernetes. And what that means is that it already has quite a bit of code written to support events from multiple sources. For example, events coming from webhooks or S3 bucket. It also supports GCP and Azure Event Hubs and a bunch of other sources. And based on whenever those events occur, you can trigger either Kubernetes objects. For example, you can configure it such that you can kick off Kubernetes deployments whenever those events occur. You can also trigger workflows or functions or any other thing that you have deployed in Kubernetes based on those events.
So the fourth project in Argo suite is Argo Workflows, which is our topic of discussion today. Although Argo consists of all four components, but we'll be studying more in detail Argo Workflow, how they work, and we'll have a demo as well. Just to add one more point, main component in Argo, where you have container native workflow engine created for Kubernetes, where the Argo component get installed in your cluster. Basically, Argo consists of two components, Argo Workflow, Argo Server, and Argo Workflow Controller. Both of these components helps in scheduling the workflows within your Kubernetes cluster. It is specifically designed for container-based environment. You don't have any VM dependency or anything like that. It is fully supported in Kubernetes. It gets installed as a custom resource definition within your Kubernetes cluster, and then you can create your workflow definition using the Argo workflow object resources. It can orchestrate jobs parallelly as well as sequentially. You can have volume, secret, config maps, all of those attached to your workflow so that you can leverage in Kubernetes resources. You can also make use of resource limit and other Kubernetes feature with Argo workflow so that you don't run out of those things in your cluster. Basically, Argo workflow, what it does is it gives you a template where you just provide your container details, and your workflow code for each step runs inside the container, and all the execution, scheduling, whether it's parallel, sequential, or it's a scheduled time-based workflow, all those things are taken care by Argo components based on the configuration you define. So this is a sample spec for Argo workflow. You have First of all, a kind workflow, which I said earlier, it gets deployed as a CRD within your cluster. Once you deploy Argo, then you have entry point definition, which is a must, which is nothing but a template which is defined within your Argo workflow template. You give a name to a template. You give task. Tasks are nothing but different steps which are going to get executed within your workflow template, and you can have multiple workflow templates within your one workflow configuration, and out of those multiple templates you define, okay, this template will be the entry point for my workflow, and your workflow will start from there. And you can even define dependencies between different steps within a template, or you can define dependency between different templates as well. That is also possible. Everything can be done using the configuration. As you can see in this spec, we are having a container image of Alpine 3.7, and it's just a simple thing. It's just echoing the parameter which is passed. So you pass the parameter as a value from the one of the step, and that thing get echo in the command line. Argo workflow also has a CLI inbuilt. Once you install Argo locally in your dev system or your maintenance system, you get Argo CLI, which is similar to kubectl or other common CLIs, but you get a lot of helper command. You can also use kubectl with Argo because these are nothing but YAML configuration. So you deploy your workflow using simple kubectl command, or you can use helper commands from Argo CLI, which are provided to you out of the box. So these are some of the helper commands. There are many more commands you can use, which will share the link for them as well.
So Tarun already spoke about the basic structure of a workflow, how you define it using YAML. So I will talk about some of the more advanced concepts within it, which you might be using on a day-to-day basis. Steps, and each step needs to feed into the subsequent step in order for it to do anything meaningful. So for example, if you want to process something and it has a couple of steps that consist of this whole workflow, then you can configure them such that, let's say there are 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, then whatever step 1 produces feeds into step 2, and whatever step 2 produces feeds into step 3, and finally you get your output. So the spec that you see on the top is how you pass parameters between steps. So here you can see that you can specify a step, and that is leading into the step that we are seeing in the specification right now. Another interesting thing is that you can pass artifacts to your workflow. Artifacts, you can think of artifacts as just files or any other resource that you can actually persist somewhere on a file system, and you can use that you can pass the artifact as an input to a particular step in the workflow, and you can also generate artifacts from your workflows. So the spec that you see on the right is how you would pass a file as an output. So this is quite an interesting. When you run workflows, it's not 100% of the time that. And in such cases, what you might want to do is resubmit a failed workflow, but you don't want to want it to start processing right from the beginning. let's say if a workflow involves some heavy operations and say it has already passed the point where that heavy or expensive operation occurred. Now you would want to resume the workflow from there onwards. So for that, Argo supports this concept of a memoized resubmission, wherein you can execute the Argo resubmit command. And what it would do is it would rehydrate the workflow and start executing the workflow from the point where it failed. You can also manually suspend and resume a workflow. So for example, if a workflow is going on for a while, but you want to suspend its functioning for some time, then you can execute the Argo suspend command and give it a workflow ID, and it would dehydrate the workflow and stop it from processing any further. And you can, at a later point of time, resume the workflow as well, from where it will pick up the state, hydrate the workflow back, and start processing it again. If you want suspension to be a regular part of your workflow, for example, if two of the steps have occurred and then you want some manual intervention to be applied to your workflow, then the spec that you see on the right is how you can manually make a workflow to suspend its operations and resume later. So if there are several more features that actually that you can benefit from if you use Argo workflows. The first concept is that I would like to talk about is sidecars and daemon containers. So daemon containers are just containers that work in the background. So with the Argo workflows, you can actually spin up containers that work in the background while rest of the operations in your workflow takes place. Use service meshes like Istio or application, but they would intercept requests and responses. So with so there might be connection issues here. Just let us know if you're able to hear me all right.
Hi Rahul and Taran. There is a way. Sorry, I'm just the track producer for this session.
Are you able to hear us?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. Just there is something. There is an option within the share content. Oh, okay, right, sure.
Right. So in the interest of time, I will just proceed from here. So right. So yep, I'll proceed. Thanks for letting us know that there are intermittent connection issues. Share the button on the bottom. Don't know where it's there. There. There is the option then. Go to chat. Don't know where it is. There on the share. Share. So the connections are dropping intermittently. Optimize. Okay. Optimize for motion and video. That
Yeah.
we should do.
Yeah. share it. Screen one. Click on screen.
Yep. No, stop sharing.
Share again.
So can you hear us all right now? Can you just give us a thumbs up or let us know on Slack? All right. So about the directed acyclic graph. So in Argo workflows, the workflows that you using Argo workflows, the workflows that you build, they are called directed acyclic graphs. It's a very computer sciencey term, but not. If you want to, I would make it explain it in much more simpler terms. Just think of it as a regular workflow, regular flowcharts. Wherein different steps of the flowcharts are just connected by arrows. That's what it resembles most closely. So if you know flowcharts, then tags are just that flowcharts. So it implements all of the DAG features, which are conditions, if else kind of things, and subroutines. You can execute a step repeatedly as many times as you want. You have loops. Sorry, subroutines is calling another task from within a particular task. Loops are just loops. Recursion is also something you're very much aware of. You also have the capability to generate these flowcharts with code. So if your requirements are very dynamic in that you have to run a certain number of steps or certain steps based on certain conditions dynamically, you can do that. You can write some code for it. And it also supports the concept of hooks. So whenever a step is processed or whenever the workflow begins or completes, if you want the notification to reach a certain service, then you can use hooks in order to notify the other services. Now, we have recorded another point that you can even create Kubernetes resources with it. So for example, after completion of a run of a certain workflow, you want to provision, or within a certain workflow, if you want to have the capability to create new services or deployments, then you can do that as well. That's also equally well supported.
For workflow, you have workflow triggers also available. You can manually trigger the workflow, or you can have schedule trigger as well. For a manual trigger, you can directly execute the workflow using the command, or you can have event-based trigger where you can have Argo events collaborated with Argo workflow, and once that event is generated, your workflow gets triggered. Or you can have hooks from GitHub, Slack, webhooks from external sources. You can even integrate external PubSub like Azure or GCP or AWS. If any of the existing integration mechanism is not working for you, Argo also provide REST API, which you can use to directly trigger the workflow for your requirement. So this is a sample image for a workflow. So Argo also provide a workflow UI for you to visualize, debug, diagnose your workflow, or to even restart or stop workflow or resume workflow. So all those things are supported via workflow UI. You can even inspect the logs of each of the containers which are getting executed in your workflow step through UI. You can also have integration with workflow UI from other system. Workflow UI also support authentication authorization so that you can use it in a production system as well. It's just not only a dev thing, you can use in production as well. You can use it for smaller workflow because if you have a long running workflow, then sometimes this UI becomes clumsy. But I believe since it is still in progress, so they are still working on improving or enhancing the UI experience for users. But still, it's pretty good.
So that brings us to the demo. So the link that you see here is a link to the GitHub repository for this whole workshop. So if you want, this session. So if you want to deliver this session yourself, you can use the artifacts that we have published that includes this presentation and also all the content for the demo, and experiment with it yourself. So what we are going to see here is a very small working. I don't see the stream there.
Yep.
All right. This demo, what we have taken the hypothetical scenario of a news publishing agency. We're calling it XYZ News. If it resembles news, some other news agency, then it's purely coincidental. So this news agency, how it works is that authors submit articles to this news agency, and the article has a life cycle before it gets published. So once the article is pushed to the repository of this news agency, it gets into draft state. After that, after some time, it matures onto a request review state, wherein it would be waiting for someone to actually push it for review. It will stay in the waiting state for a while until someone actually decides to pick this up from the review state and make it proceed forward. The next step that the article would go to is the spell check state, where spelling and grammar checks would be performed on it in an automated manner. And once those checks have passed, it would wait for an editor to read it. And it in parallel would also go to a manual spell checker. So these two parties can work on the article in parallel. And once these two parties are happy, they would submit it. They would push the article forward and make it ready for submission. And afterwards, the article would be published. So we'll look at these in a little bit of detail. So what I'm going to show you is the specification for this workflow.
No.
You can see. All right. So I'll just hide. Thank you. So the workflow that we just saw, this is the YAML. There is a name that we have given to the workflow. So Argo will automate on each run of this workflow. Argo will generate a random void, a random identifier for the workflow. But we have supplied it a prefix that it would attach to the name of the workflow. So as Tarun said that we need to define an entry point, which is the name of one of the steps within the workflow. So that's where the workflow starts from. Then in the template section, we define the steps that make up the workflow. So for example, the first step doesn't do much. It just echoes whatever parameters we pass to it. And the next step in it is for copying the blob operation. So how we have modeled this is that we'll have an Azure storage account with 3 containers in it. So there is a container named ready, in which when we submit the article, we will treat it as an article that is submitted to the workflow in order for it to be taken forward. And then once the article is done processing, it will be moved to a container named published. So here, this copy blob operation actually uses a container image as its template. So what this application does is it just picks files from the source container and it will dump it in the destination container. And this is the command that you see here is what is used as the command line argument to that step. As you can see that you can pass an input parameter here. So we have supplied the connection string here, but you can actually use an environment variable or an input parameter to supply these values as well. We're going to delete this storage account right after this demo, so it's still safe for us to present it here. The wait for editor step, if you see in the workflow diagram that we saw, once the article passes through the spell checker phase, it waits for an editor for manual approval. And I spoke about the suspension feature of Argo workflows. So you can see that this particular activity has a suspend element in it, which means that you would need to manually approve this step in order for it to proceed. The next step is named news, which again has a bunch of subtasks in it. So an article would first be in draft state. Here nothing happens. We just print a message on the console, and that's all it does. So once it moves on from the draft state, it will move on to the request review state, which again, there is no body to it. It will just print the message.
So as you can see in the workflow template, there is different dependencies defined. So this is how it execute the workflow. We have dependency for request review step. We have dependency on draft step. Then similarly for waiting for journalist step, we have dependency on spell check approval step. And the template which is used for editor. So you can use all these combination, and they need not be in sequence. You can use any template, any dependency from your workflow template, and then your workflow will be executed in that sequence only. Let's go to the
demo. So again, these are just steps with their respective dependencies, and this is how you would define the flow chart for your workflow. And that's it. That's the last step. So let's execute this workflow. And in order to do that, we'll just launch the terminal. And let's open this in presentation mode. But the text is a bit wider. So in order to submit a workflow, you need to enter this command, which is argo submit, and specifies the namespace where this spec needs to be applied in. And then this watch command, what it will do is it will show you how the workflow is progressing on the terminal. But we can also watch, since we already talked about how Argo actually has a UI, we can use that in order to watch the workflow's progress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this workflow here. The screen. Oh, this is going to fail. Yeah, I need to cancel this operation. So we first need to put an actual document in the ready container. Only then it will be picked up by this workflow.
So this is not a Argo requirement. So we just coded it like this for our demo. We'll add a file.
Yeah.
This is our storage account with 3 containers.
So the original document needs to go in the ready container. So what we are going to do is upload a file here. So if you look at the contents of this file, it's an NDC newsletter, so which has a certain text written in it. We're just going to upload this file. So now we have this file in it. So now we are ready to execute our workflow. So let's submit it. Let's quickly move on to the user interface. If we go to, this is the UI. This, I think there are two of them running at the same time. We can even delete one of the workflows from here. We don't want it
This
to.
is the last one which we executed.
Yeah. If you look at this workflow, you can see that it has successfully passed a number of steps, and now it is waiting for a journalist. So this is stuck here because we added a manual suspension step in the workflow, and we would need to manually resume it in order to make it proceed forward. Now, this action you can also, you don't have to use the UI in order to resume a workflow. You can use the CLI tooling available as well. But you can see that as soon as I resume the workflow, it proceeded onwards. And now it's executing. Just have a little waiting. Flow has a file that we uploaded to the ready container. I should move that file over to the. Check that. Let's go back to our container. Look at the approved container. We'll find a file over here. So let's download this file and see whether it's the same file as what we uploaded. And you can see the content here, which just means that it is the same file which we uploaded to the container initially. And that concludes our demo. So as I was talking about the repository, so this is the repo where you can find this demo and also the presentation if you want to present it yourself.
And if you go to Argo UI, you can see that you can see logs of different steps. If you click on any of the step, you will be able to see what is happening in that step, how it is progressing. And if you click on container, you will see the logs for that particular container or whatever you want to output.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, so we encourage you to explore the Argo dashboard yourself. There are a lot more things that you can do there. And this is just a brief glimpse of how you can run a simple workflow with it. So that brings me to the deployment aspect of it. So as you saw that writing workflows is quite a simple task. You just need to write your workflow definition in a YAML file that you can commit with your existing code and store it in a Git repo. And because you can do that, you can use your existing deployment strategies. So most of the one of the most common deployment strategies, if you're using Kubernetes in your day-to-day lives, is Helm. So you can package your workflows using Helm and apply the Helm package on your Kubernetes cluster, and that would apply your workflow there. Since Argo has made workflows a first-class citizen of Kubernetes, it also gives you this added advantage that it is as easy to deploy and roll back an Argo workflow as it is for any other resource. So if you're not happy, you can just roll it back and apply a previous version of the workflow to your cluster. So in this talk, Microsoft is sponsoring a giveaway. So here are some of the community links that Microsoft has asked us to put on the slides.
Yeah, but they are actually real good links.
Yeah.
If you want to try out Azure, you should go to azure.com free, and they give you a free account which you can use to try out. And there is a community newsletter as well which you should join to know about the latest what is happening in Azure space.
Yeah, I've subscribed to this letter myself.
Yeah.
So as I said that all the artifacts for this demo are available on the GitHub repository. So you can visit that repository and download the artifacts and execute this demo and also use the presentation if you want to present it yourself. So Microsoft has sponsored the swag for this session. So if you live in Australia and you want to have Microsoft deliver some cool T-shirts to you, just follow the steps over there. So you need to send out a tweet and tag Microsoft Australia NDC conferences, me and Tarun, in the tweet, and we'll send you a magic link which you can use to claim your swag. And that's it, I believe.
Yep. So if you have any questions, we can discuss that now.